기자부대, hop on the beat!
Welcome back to another JoJo chapter review. This time we'll be taking a look at the 12th chapter of Crazy Diamond Demonic Heartbreak, the prequel to Part 4 starring Josuke and Hol Horse. In the last chapter, Josuke and Boingo escaped from the memory of Egypt, while the villain Karaya prepared for the next step of his plan. This chapter continues immediately from there, with Josuke still looking for Ryoko. They hear footsteps coming down the hallway, but it turns out to be Hol Horse. Josuke tells Hol Horse that the parrot is alive and that he didn't actually kill it when he thought he shot it earlier in the story. They see something fly by and Ryoko heading up the stairs. The two split up to go after each of them. Hol Horse chases it down but finds out it was only a paper model of the parrot, likely what was used to trick him before. He sees what he thinks is Kakuin, but it turns out to be Ryoko. She isn't wearing clothes since Karaya had put them on Boingo earlier to trick Josuke. While under the effect of Pet Sounds' stand, she takes out a gun and points it at her head. Josuke keeps following Ryoko, but realizes it isn't really her since she has her clothes and he's just being made to see a memory of her. He gets sent back into another memory. This time he's seeing from the perspective of Darby while he meets Dio. Dio says that Darby's younger brother has already joined him, so he challenges him to a poker game to see whether he becomes his servant or stays as equal. Dio refers to Darby by his first name, Daniel, and asks whether he was called Danny as a child. He says that he hates that name, and calls back to when he threw Danny in the furnace in Phantom Blood. This also calls back to Darby disliking when people say his name differently. Josuke is experiencing Darby's emotions and is being swallowed by the feeling of intimidation. Darby starts his game with Dio and has cheated to give himself a good hand and Dio a worthless one. He picks up his cards and sees that he has the bad hand now. The cards have blood on them and Darby notices his fingers cut open. Dio says that he noticed Darby's cheating and was impressed, so he switches the cards back and allows him to win the game. As a bit of an Easter egg, the junk hand here is the exact same one Jotaro bluffed with at the end of his game with Darby in Part 3. Dio tells him that now that he's beaten him, he isn't allowed to lose another game or risk sullying Dio's reputation. Darby is completely intimidated and starts having a mental breakdown, similar to how he was after being defeated in Part 3. Back in reality, Josuke is frozen in place from fear, while Karaya approaches him with a cutting torch. Overall, I really enjoyed this chapter. I'm glad that Josuke and Hol Horse were able to meet up again, since it brings everyone together for what is no doubt going to be the upcoming finale. We see Hol Horse get into a new situation which we can already see is going to lead to the newest prediction of the book, of Ryoko shooting him. The Darby flashback was very nice as well, and I think it gives an interesting new perspective on that character and context for what made him so afraid of Dio. As I said before, it seems like we're really close to the finale in a direct confrontation between Karaya and Josuke. Something to keep in mind is that not only are we getting the next chapter later this month, but we'll finally be seeing the start of Part 9 of the series titled The JoJo Lands. For some time we'll actually be getting 2 JoJo chapters a month, both releasing at the same time in the same magazine. I'll continue covering this series while also beginning my monthly chapter reviews for Part 9. There's a lot of things happening for the series right now, so keep up with the channel for any news that might come up. If you want to be updated on new videos and chapters, join the Hum and Beat Discord using the link in the description. If you support the channel on Patreon, you can have access to Discord perks, uncut videos, and the opportunity to submit questions. This video's question comes from 17-Hit Combo. He asks, before Part 9 comes out, what am I most excited to see in the JoJo Lands? What I'll say is that the things I'm looking forward to seeing are not anything that I could possibly answer with. My biggest joy when it came to reading JoJolion Monthly was that it was impossible to predict what would happen next. So while I am excited to see callbacks to Parts 7 and 8 in the story, even more than that, I'm looking forward to being surprised by all the new things we'll be seeing. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons. Thank you to Alex Ramirez, Doorbell, Ashton Joseph Miller, Crayon, Rigo Vids, Zukato, Sentai, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Almighty Quarth, Oof, Cowrie, Halil, Gatlin Grove, Lime Jinjo, 17-hit combo, Phantom Kai, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciano Rabaja, Rayana Meme, Christian McDonough, Navi, Reed Go Beyond JoJo Liana Neo 3, and Emmanuel Etienne.